why he didn't interfere. Why would such a savvy, smart man do that? As Mike Rogers said and many others, something smells weird. Doesn't have to be a crime to be wrong. Thank you for watching. CNN Tonight with D. Lemon starts right now.
If I were I really want to meet with Chris right now. I'm going to close the door. I don't want anybody to. What does that mean? You don't want anybody to know. Something
means that you're using your outside voice for your inside thoughts.
Right. I mean, seriously, there's something I don't want people to know. It's obvious, don't you think? Otherwise, you would memorialize it. You would have your interpreter's notes. You would put the notes into record. I'd have nothing to hide at all.
I hear you.
So what if it leaks? If you're not saying or doing anything wrong, why does it matter?
I hear you. I hear you. I have to tell you, I am giving every scintilla of benefit of the doubt that I can. People get frustrated. You know what it is. You know what it is. I don't know what it is.
You already know. They call you Mr. Both Sides.
I don't want to know. Hey, listen, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
All right? I'm okay with that because you know what? You cannot be an echo for one side of these kinds of situations. Now, we're not talking about the Mueller probe. People get upset because on the shutdown, hey, look, I think that the Democrats, the Republicans should not be leaving for a recess. They should stay and try to make a deal. And I don't like that they were going to go on a trip for their recess. This shutdown demands more urgency from the left and the right. Pelosi's got high ground on the shutdown. The president says he owns it on national TV. Yeah. But she didn't have to do that thing with the State of the Union. That didn't help her cause. She's better than that. She's playing his game. That was what I was pointing out. But on this, I don't want to jump to a conclusion that the president is somehow too close to Russia in a way that is compromising that country. It's too ugly a suggestion.
I'll say again, this is not about both sides. This is about truth, justice, and the American way.
100% when it comes to the Mueller probe.
There's no truth in this.
In politics, there's almost always two sides. If the two sides are involved in a process, there's almost always something going on both sides. But Mueller's about truth.
American way. This is not about, I don't give a damn about liberal. I don't give a damn about Democrat. I don't give a damn about Republican. Again, as I said, this is about truth, justice, and the American way. We're getting no truth.
The Mueller probe.
We're getting no and all the lies that come out of this administration.
100%.
If I have a deal with you, as I got a deal, it's ready to go. We're going to do it.
Yeah, but where does that come from? Where does that come from?
I'm going home. I'm going about my business. I'm going to say to you, I'm done. I've already made my deal with you, and if you don't like it, that's your problem.
Politicians break deals all the time. But more importantly, this president is known for breaking deals. He's known for not keeping his word.
As a businessman.
He's known for not paying people. He's known. In fact, Kellyanne, his, I argue, best defender, when she was with Ted Cruz, that was one of her main hammer points on the president. Yeah. This guy never pays his debts. Why do you think
he built his business off the backs of poor people? I want to see his tax returns. And then the very next day, she's like, well, listen, you know, he's a good guy, and he's the best that we have. Listen, the whole Michael Cohen thing about the polls.
Yeah.
You interviewed Trump, right? So did I. Every time I went to an interview with him, you know what he did? He'd hand me a poll. Right? And he'd hand me the polls, and he'd say, hey, look, take a look at this poll. Look how I'm doing, look how I'm doing. You know why he did that? I have it on good authority. You know why?
He paid good money for him.
That, and because we're suckers. He realized that if he got his name out there, if he was doing good in the polls, then we would talk about him. We would report on him. If he wasn't doing well in the polls, then why would we care? Because he's not a contender. So what he did, he strategized. He said, allegedly, right? Paid somebody to, according to Michael Cohen, paid somebody to rig the polls for him so that we could continue to talk about him and amplify his message.
Right. One, I agree with you 100%. That is part of this particular president's talent. He is good at playing the media. He's good with a gut instinct of what will get people upset. He's good at selling. Now, to Michael Cohen, I wouldn't say allegedly. I'd say more than that. Because the outfit that says they were paid says it, and Michael Cohen doesn't deny it. He says, I did it, but I did it at the direction of the president. Why else would he be fixing stuff like that? You know,
didn't matter. Why would it matter to him?
Right. And look, good for him for being honest about this stuff now. I know people say he hasn't been honest in the past, but you got to weigh both. You know, the special counsel said he's been helpful, he's been credible, and, you know, you got to take that much as well.
Anytime you're facing prison and your family is in jeopardy and you don't have...
Why would he lie about this?
Why would he lie?
And here's why it matters. One of the main values that people are going to have to weigh with this president, because I don't think it's going to come down to a crime. All right, I think that's a false standard. I think it's setting too high a bar. Would he know about these things and let it happen? Would he be okay with this type of dark arts? Would he be okay with this? Look at what he did with the women. Look at what he did with the poll. Look at what he does with Putin. This is a man who proves again and again he is comfortable with things that are wrong, and he's comfortable lying about the same. Troubling.
You know what the test is to figure that out is, does it mean that he's going to win? Doesn't even matter what it means politically or ideologically. What does it mean for him winning? That's what the wall is all about.
Think about it. Look, that's what the whole defense is about.
That's what everything's about.
Yeah, look, the wall is that's so obvious and so frustrating to me because people are paying for it now. I would have been okay if the politics kept going. Yeah, he keeps walking away from deals. It's not going to help his currency with the other side, and it's not going to really embolden his own side to want to work with him and let him take the lead. But now that all these other people are paying the price, now it means something else. And that's why I say I implore both sides to try to make it stop. Do whatever you can, because people are paying the price for your ineffectiveness. But I'll tell you something. At the end of the day, the lying, the tangled web is going to matter. Not because it's a crime, but because it's wrong. And that is going to be the basis upon which he is measured.
No, because you can't remember when you lie, you can't remember what you say. You know what, okay, do you know what Bodak Yellow is?
Who?
That's Bodak, that's Cardi B's song.
Oh, I didn't hear you. We're like whispering. We're on television.
Bodak Yellow.
You
I'm wearing a
speak
microphone.
under
I
your
don't have to
breath
yell
when
at
you're on
you.
television.
You know, these things, they're called microphones.
Isn't that her big hit?
That's it, Bodak Yellow.
Yeah, I mean, I hear her music in my house all the time. Cha-Cha loves it.
Well, I got to go because I got to make some money moves right now.
Listen, did you see my moves before? You weren't saying it. You can't move your neck like that. I only have half my vertebrae move.
You can't dance.
You think you dance better than I can?
You're a terrible dancer.
You think you can dance better than I can?
We're not going to have a dance off, okay, Chris?
Whenever you want. Whenever you want.
Boy, you need a whole bunch of Gillette razors.
Whenever you want.
All right.
Whenever you want.
Hey, turns out, guess what? The polls were rigged. Right.
Shocking. I'll talk to you later. Have a great show.
Have a good one. See you soon. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon, and here we are. Another day of government chaos. Another day when the institutions we thought that we could depend on look like they're coming apart at the seams. This is day 27 now of the shutdown. Day 27. Thousands of government workers who have bills to pay, families to feed, just like the rest of us. They're forced to go out and work for free, not get paid. President and the Speaker of the House doing hand-to-hand combat. I mean, going back and forth. I'm going to tell you about how the day unfolded. The president's former attorney admitting that he paid thousands to rig polls in favor of candidate Trump. The president's current attorney conceding the Trump campaign may have colluded with Russia while insisting the president did not. Is anybody feeling good about any of this, about all of this? Well, as I said last night, maybe this guy is. There he is, Putin. So let's go through it all, point by point. First, there's the story everybody's talking about tonight. President Trump versus Nancy Pelosi. It's like in this corner, right? And then this corner. Trump advisor said it best. This is King Kong versus Godzilla. This is what happens when you play hardball with Donald Trump. The president denying the speaker a military plane for her trip to Afghanistan and suggesting that she fly commercial to a war zone. So a trip that was kept under wraps for security reasons, as trips to a war zone usually are, is publicly revealed by the president. All this coming about an hour before Pelosi was supposed to leave. Members of the delegation on the bus, their plane sitting on the runway. And predictably, it sparked indignation on that phrase on both sides.
I'm just shocked she'd even think that she would leave the country. Why would you leave the country with government shut down and you're Speaker of the House?
I think the president's decision to disclose a trip that a speaker is making to a war zone was completely and utterly irresponsible in every way.
Why would she leave the country when the Speaker of the government? Did the president go to a war zone? Government was shut down. Did they leave the country? Oh, okay. Just checking. It's absolutely no coincidence this happened the day after Pelosi, and what was also a nakedly political move, to be honest, suggested the president reschedule the State of the Union, blaming the shutdown. And of course, there's her opposition to the president's wall.
I'm not for a wall. I'm not for a wall. I'm not for a wall.
So many questions about all this. In his letter, the president called Pelosi's trip to the war zone during the shutdown a public relations event, which is interesting coming from the man who just last month, as I said, took a trip to a war zone during the shutdown. And the fact is, the Speaker of the House is third in line in our government after the President and the Vice President. So exposing her trip to a war zone is pretty questionable even these days. And because, of course, the Trump campaign is fundraising off the clash with Pelosi. Did you know that? White House officials tell CNN the president has been watching the TV coverage and is pleased. So we can probably expect more of these bare-knuckle tactics on both sides. And speaking of the president watching TV, here's something he apparently wasn't pleased about. Sources telling CNN he was startled when his nominee for Attorney General William Barr said this on live TV during his confirmation hearing.
I told him how well I knew Bob Mueller and how, you know, the Barrs and Muellers were good friends and would be good friends when this is all over.
The president reportedly complained to his aides that he didn't realize Barr and Mueller were so close, which is odd since Barr says he told the president exactly that. Well, aides have said the best way to get the president's attention is to talk to him via the television, to come on one of these shows. Oh, but there's more, much more. The Wall Street Journal reporting that the president's nemesis and former keeper of secrets, Michael Cohen, paid thousands of dollars to the head of a small technology company in 2015 to rig online polls in favor of then candidate Trump. Surprise! Now, where have I heard about these rigged polls before?
Watch the polls, because this is part of the crooked system. It's part of the rigged system.
You see these phony polls. They put out these phony polls.
You know, the phony polls. They do these phony polls, right? Some of the polls are great. I only really acknowledge them if I'm winning.
You cannot make this up. Don't fall for the okie doke. Cohen tells CNN his actions were, quote, at the direction of and for the sole benefit of Donald J. Trump. This is a quote. I truly regret my blind loyalty to a man who doesn't deserve it. Cohen is expected to testify before the House Oversight Committee on February 7th. Though a source tells CNN he is concerned for the safety of his family after the president publicly suggested, this was over the weekend with no evidence, that he is aware of damaging information about Cohen's family. And then there is the continuing saga of the president's current attorney. You saw much of it play out here on CNN last night with Rudy Giuliani. Roll it.
I never said there was no collusion between the campaign or between people in the campaign.
Yes, you
I have no idea if I have not. I said the President of the United States.
Giuliani telling CNN's Dana Bash today, the president has no knowledge of collusion with Russia. The president has no knowledge of collusion with Russia. And going on to say, quote, neither he nor I can possibly know what everyone on the campaign was doing. And this, I can't possibly say no one had contact about something or in some way. So now he is conceding there could have been collusion by someone on the campaign. That is very different from what the president said way back in May of 2017.
There is no collusion between me and my campaign and the Russians.
All of this disruption, all the chaos, and oh yeah, the government is still shut down because of a manufactured crisis, because of the president's refusal to bend on the wall. Though more and more federal workers are being forced to do their jobs anyway, even though they have no idea when they will be paid. No idea. Remember when the president said this?
I alone can fix it.
Well, guess what? It's really true this time. The president can fix this. The question is, will he? Lots to talk about. Frank Bruni, David Axelrod, Alice Stewart. We'll dig into it next.
Something to remind me of another place and time. If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, just scan the sensor with your reader or iPhone and manage your diabetes. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. Ask your doctor to write a prescription for the new Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without fingersticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
What makes this simple salad the best simple salad ever? Great tasting, heart healthy California walnuts. So simple, so good. Get the recipes at walnuts.org.
As we age, our oral health begins to suffer. Teeth weaken, mouths are more sensitive, gum health suffers. That's why people like us use Closest Silver with fluoride. It's specially formulated for the needs of older adults. Closest Silver is alcohol-free, so it's safe for sensitive mouths. And it kills 99% of harmful bacteria, reduces plaque, and remineralizes enamel for stronger teeth and gums.
Get Closest Silver and other Closest products at these fine retailers. Closest, gentlest oral care ever.
That's the only circumstance to which you would separate.
Can't imagine doing it otherwise.
This is Caitlin Dickerson from the New York Times. This isn't the only case. Very little documentation. I know that's not true. And the shelters really don't know what to do with them. I just got another person at DHS to confirm this. I have this number. We're going to publish this story.
You work hard to build a better life and a better world. Now you can do both by ditching your big bank and switching to Aspiration. Aspiration helps you spend and save with a conscience, and Aspiration trusts you to pay only the fee you think we deserve, even if it's zero. So use any ATM in the world for free. Switch at aspiration.com. Save money, save the planet.
Need a change of scenery? Kayak searches hundreds of travel sites, even our competitors, so you can be confident you're getting the right flight at the best price. Kayak. Search one and done.
I hear it in the background. She's watching it too, saying, and this is where... Here you go. See you next week.
I've never seen that before.
First, Speaker Pelosi pushes the president to postpone his State of the Union address. Then the president abruptly grounds the speaker's flight to Afghanistan. When will this back and forth end? And when will we ever come together, or they, I should say, to reopen the government? Let's discuss now. Frank Bruni's here, David Axelrod, and Alice Stewart. Hello. If we had the answer to that question, right, we would need to be sitting here on television. How do you read this? Frank, what's going on in Washington? Is this a both sides thing?
Well, I mean, what's happened is this has gone from being a policy fight to being an intensely, intensely personal fight. You know, Donald Trump felt humiliated by the letter that Nancy Pelosi sent saying maybe we shouldn't do the State of the Union, and he is now trying to humiliate her back. He hates nothing more, you know, than feeling like someone's got the upper hand and has shamed him. And so what he did today was so incredibly personal. It was, I mean, the use of the word excursion in the letter, the use of the word public relations event. And the way you know this wasn't about winning the public relations war about the wall, but was about just poking at her, it would have been a far smarter thing to let her go on the trip and then say, I have no one to negotiate with.
She's out of the country.
How can she leave the country during a shutdown? Instead, he does this because this is the kind of thing that makes him feel good.
Yeah, and so there you go. That's where I said, was this a both sides thing, or is it?
Well, I mean, neither side looks good right now, but I think you can't equate Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi. She has a long way to fall before she's as low as him.
Alice Stewart, CNN is reporting that the president has been watching the coverage, and he's, you know, about the letter today, and says he is pleased. But he revealed to the world that the second person in line for the presidency was heading to a war zone. She's the second person. The vice president is first. She's second. Is this all a game to him?
Look, they clearly feel as though they won the day because one thing is for sure about Donald Trump, we can take this to the bank, he is a counterpuncher. And when Nancy Pelosi took the step to rescind the invitation to speak on the House floor for the State of the Union. He counterpunched and pulled the plug on her trip. And that is something clearly that was expected, and she probably expected that to happen. But here's the problem. This is has to deal with nearly 1 million workers that are not getting paid right now that should get paid. And here we have a tit for tat amongst the leader of our country and the Speaker of the House. Here's the thing. President Trump, when the conditions of his campaign promise to build this wall changed and Mexico was not going to pay for it, he needed to change how he approached this. At the same time, if Nancy Pelosi wants to show that she is willing to make progress and be a Speaker of the House, she also has to be willing to negotiate. This might play well in a sanctuary city in San Francisco.
Why should she negotiate now when the negotiation was all done before? Several deals were on the table that everyone had agreed to, and the president backed out on all of them. Why should she negotiate? Why is it incumbent upon Nancy Pelosi to negotiate now? I don't understand that.
Well, it's kind of hard for her to look at the American people in the face and say, look, I really want to put these people back to work when she's refusing.
But she's not the one who said, Alice, she's not the one who said, I will gladly shut the government down. I will carry that mantle. I will. And both of them sat there, Pelosi and Schumer said, we think that's a wrong move. You shouldn't shut the government down. So why should she negotiate right now? It's not, she didn't say, I'm going to shut the government down. She didn't. The president shut the government down.
You're absolutely right. But as I said, why should she negotiate? That's the only way we're going to open the government back up. Look, refusing to fund Trump's big, beautiful wall sits well, I'm sure, in the sanctuary city she represents. But that doesn't work well in the flyover
I'm going to let David in, but Alice, I got to just back. That's not the only way. The president can open the government back up and still continue to negotiate for a wall. This isn't like the end of the world. Doesn't just stop here. He could say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it for 3 weeks. I'm going to do it on the good faith so they know that I'm willing to negotiate with them. But he won't do that. It's not the only way. That's not true to say it's the only way that this is going to happen is if the Democrats start negotiating. There is another way. That's actually probably a better way. And if he wants to bring in some people and gain more confidence of the Democrats, he could say, I'm going to open it back up, but I really want you to negotiate with me. And if you don't, then you're going to look bad.
Look, I agree 100% that we should open up the government first and then negotiate the wall. I think there is a great way to bargain here. The president wants $5 billion. Nancy Pelosi wants $0. Let's agree to 2.5 and let's move on. But in the meantime, let's open up the government and then have those conversations because these people now have gone without a paycheck and we need to rectify that.
Okay. David, sorry. Go on. What do you think about all this back and forth?
That's okay. Well, I think the problem with splitting it down the middle is that's the deal that Pence and Mulvaney offered early on, and then the president repudiated it. So he was not willing to accept that deal. And, you know, I mean, Democrats have an upper hand here because they have voted to reopen the government. Republicans and Democrats in the Senate have voted to reopen the government and leave the issue of Homeland Security and the border wall for further negotiation, and the president has refused. So when he sends letters to Pelosi saying you shouldn't leave while we have 800,000 people out of work, he has the ability to put them back to work. The Congress has agreed to put them back to work at various times here, and he won't do it. But I do think the other point, Don, look, she played hardball. She doesn't want to give him the platform of the State of the Union to litigate this issue. He then responded and kind of threw a spitball back. The thing that I thought was astonishing about it, though, was referring to a trip to Afghanistan to visit the troops as a public relations event, especially coming from a president who has yet to visit the troops in Afghanistan, the commander-in-chief. Perhaps if he visited the troops in Afghanistan, he'd recognize that this isn't a public relations event. It is one of the obligations of the leaders of our government to reassure our troops, to encourage them, to tell them that we appreciate their service. And that's what she was going to do, and that's what he pulled the plug on.
Okay. Everybody stay with me. We're going to talk much more, a lot talking about collusion or no collusion. Seems like the president and his lawyers can't get their story straight.
Hiring? It's a big deal. Finding the right candidates can take up lots of your time and energy. But not on Indeed. Millions of great people are using Indeed every single day. People with every possible combination of skill and experience. And with filters to help you find them faster, whatever type of candidates you're looking for, you'll find them on Indeed. Accelerate your hiring even more with a $50 credit to start your first job post with premium placement on Indeed.
You're a barbarian.
Wall Street's not the roller coaster. You are.
At Angie's List, we help you feel confident about hiring pros for home projects. You can check their ratings, read verified reviews, and easily request multiple quotes. Find all the pros you need to know at angieslist.com.
We're Carvana, the company who invented car vending machines and buying a car 100% online. Now we've created a brand new way for you to sell your car. Whether it's a few years old or dinosaur old, we want to buy your car. So go to Carvana and enter your license plate, answer a few questions, and our techno wizardry calculates your car's value and gives you a real offer in seconds. When you're ready, we'll come to you, pay you on the spot, and pick up your car. That's it. So ditch the old way of selling your car and say hello to the new way at Carvana.
Shopping for our home on Wayfair is so easy. They should make a jingle. Wayfair, you make home shopping easy.
Wait, that sounds familiar.
These new tools make my shopping a breeze. I can plan my room while I'm falling asleep.
How about Wayfair, you got just what I need?
No, it's not good.
Sounds pretty good.
Discover easier home shopping at Wayfair, where it's find and unwind.
Wayfair, you've got just what I need.
I'm Chris Cuomo. Let's get after it. Nobody in the campaign had any contact with Russia.
I never said there was no collusion between the campaign. And
Yes, you
I have no idea.
Cuomo Prime Time, tomorrow night at 9 Eastern on CNN.
She's doing it again. No cover-up spray here. Cheaper aerosols can cover up odors, burying them in a flowery fog. Switch to Febreze Air Effects. Febreze eliminates even the toughest odors from the air. Freshen up, don't cover up. Febreze.
Sometimes a cough gets in the way of a good night's sleep. That's when he needs Vicks VapoRub, proven cough medicine with 8 hours of vapors, so he can sleep. Vicks VapoRub. Good night, coughs.
How could you be so confident walking down the street? Because I had 30,000 people going, yeah!
I thought this was a nothing part, and then the script came, and I nearly had a heart attack.
The stories behind the movie that brought the world to its knees.
Timelessly popular.
Bruno Tonioli hosts Saturday Night Fever, the ultimate disco movie. Premieres Saturday on Reels, Channel 238.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
The president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, spent the day doing cleanup after saying this.
I never said there was no collusion between the campaign or between people in the campaign.
Yes,
I
you
have no idea if I have not. I said the President of the United States.
Of course, Giuliani and Trump have said multiple times that there was no collusion with Russia by the Trump campaign. So today, Giuliani tweeted, "My statements on collusion haven't changed. The misinterpretation has changed." The misinterpretation? Did I read that right? Okay. The point is, I represent the president, not the campaign, but from both perspectives, there is no involvement in collusion with Russians on the email hack, the only possible crime. We're all back. Did you get that, Frank?
No, I seldom get anything that comes from Rudy Giuliani.
Let me say this. And I said this last night. I've been saying it for a long time, I think with you. Rudy Giuliani goes on television, spins up a tale about something, most of which is not true. Mm-hmm. We all start chasing our tails, right, or the shiny object. Then he comes back the next day and says, "Oh, no, that is not what I meant." What is the point?
I was going to add, and Donald Trump keeps him in his employ.
The point is to confuse people. The point is for him to win in the court of public opinion. The point is for him to, in the way that he wants to, right, David, to try to keep the president from getting impeached. It's not legal. It has nothing to do with Mueller. Right. This is about public opinion, and he's trying to get your mind off or your eye off the ball. It's exactly what he's doing, and we keep falling for it.
Well, we're talking about him right now.
Exactly.
So you could say he's winning right now.
But
I mean, if this wasn't something that the Trump administration and that Donald Trump wanted, they wouldn't keep putting Rudy Giuliani. But he's doing exactly what his boss does.
Yeah.
He is the mirror image of his boss. He's throwing out all sorts of words. He's getting us to chase them. He's getting us to doubt our sanity at times.
Yeah.
You know, and meanwhile, all this other stuff goes unexamined.
David?
I don't doubt my own sanity because of Rudy Giuliani, but he does create a lot of
there are other
collusion,
reasons for
confusion.
that, right?
There's no, exactly. There's no doubt about that. But ultimately, I think what's happening here is that the contours of Mueller's findings are becoming clearer. You know, and now it's becoming more and more difficult to deny that there was, in fact, collusion between elements of the campaign and the Russians. And now, you know, like Rudy's hit the escape hatch, and he and the president are parachuting out and leaving the others to fend for themselves. Because ultimately, his job is to protect the president from the political process of impeachment, and his audience is the president's base of supporters.
You're the smartest man on this panel, at least.
He's not practicing law here.
Yeah.
He is not practicing law. He is practicing politics.
Yeah.
And Don, you're exactly right. We have the lawyers that are representing this president and trying this case with Mueller in the court of law. And then we have Rudy Giuliani, who's trying the case in the court of public opinion. The problem is the way this story has transgressed over the last year and a half, from no collusion, this is fake news, this is a hoax, to we don't believe, to the best of our knowledge, there is any collusion, to there's nothing illegal about collusion, to now, well, maybe there was collusion, but the president didn't know about it. Last night, for the first time, we had Trump's base sitting at home in their recliners, wearing their MAGA hats, watching that, doing the Cuomo brow, saying, what the heck did he just say? That's where we have the problem. And the fact that they're moving the goalposts on this very important key factor in this Mueller investigation, in my view, indicates maybe they know something that's about to come out and they're trying to soften the waters with the base.
Okay, Alice, so you're a Trump supporter.
Right.
Does this give you pause? Or you sit going, uh-oh?
Look, I think the issue here is to find out to what degree the Russians interfered in our election, whether or not they influenced the outcome of the election.
No, Alice, I get that. Come on. Come on. Just be honest with me. You talked about the Trump supporters sitting around in their puffy pants, their PJs or whatever, and with their MAGA hats, and they're watching going, oh my gosh, does this give you pause at all?
What Rudy Giuliani says to Chris Cuomo gives me no pause, but what Robert Mueller determines in his investigation, that will. I'm going to wait. I'm going to withhold any comments about anything on this until we hear exactly what has come out of this investigation. I'm not going to prejudge it. I don't think Rudy should. I don't think the president should. I don't think anyone should. Let's wait till we get the outcome.
I have a signed MAGA hat in my office for you, okay, that he gave me.
Can I have it?
Yeah, you need
Please?
one he gave me when I did an interview with him, and it's a camouflage when not a lot of people have them.
That's cool.
David, you interviewed the former Secretary of State John Kerry for this week's Axe Files.
Yeah, I did.
Here's a clip.
And so what's happened is people have lost that sense of what's important to our country. Our democracy is threatened today. Our democracy is threatened. We are dysfunctional. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Our democracy is threatened. What else did he have to say about this country, the state of the country?
Well, I mean, he's obviously concerned about our relationship with the world. He had quite a bit to say about the president and Russia. Remember, he was the Secretary of State when this saga began, and he had an interesting cut on the president's view of the military and military service. He was very lively in this interview and very interesting. So I hope people will join.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Fascinating. I didn't mean to beat you up, Alice, but you know, I had to challenge you a little bit on some of the things.
Okay, I'm used to it.
All
Give
right,
her the hat,
good.
Don.
Yeah, give her the hat.
I get a hat. I get a hat for all of that.
I was saving. I was going to sell it on eBay. All right, thank you guys. Don't miss the Axe Files with David Axelrod's special guest, the former Secretary of State John Kerry. That's Saturday night at 7 Eastern. Michael Cohen admitting that he paid to rig polls in favor of the president, and he says Trump told him to do it. The reporter who broke the story joins me next.
It was love at first slice. Pizza lovers everywhere meet Oh That's Good frozen pizza. 1/3 of our classic crust is made with cauliflower, but that's not stopping anyone. Oh That's Good.
Exploring the heart of historic Europe with Viking
you'll get closer to iconic landmarks, to local life and legendary treasures as you sail on board our patented award-winning Viking longships. You'll enjoy many extras, including Wi-Fi, cultural enrichment from ship to shore, and engaging excursions. Viking, voted #1 river cruise line by Condé Nast readers. Learn more at vikingcruises.com.
What if people with type 1 diabetes had the power to manage their condition without finger sticks? To always know their glucose levels and where they're heading with just a glance at their smart device. The power to make treatment decisions, to customize alerts and alarms to help keep them in range. The power to lower their A1C. All this knowledge, powered by a small wearable. Introducing the Dexcom G6.
Hey, who are you?
Oh, hey, Jeff, I'm a car thief.
What?
I'm here to steal your car because, well, that's my job.
What?
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 It happens. And if you got cut-rate car insurance, paying for this could feel like getting robbed twice.
So get Allstate.
I'd be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
What you don't see can hurt you. Today's connected world is full of threats you may not see if you just monitor your credit to help protect your identity. LifeLock sees more, like your personal information on the dark web. And now with the power of Norton, we detect threats like ransomware too, to help protect your identity and devices. Plus, if there's an identity theft problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 Million protection package. Get LifeLock with Norton, starting at $9.99 a month.
When it comes to hotels, we're very demanding. We want a pool. A cool pool. We want 24-hour room service. And laundry service, too. Oh! It'd be great to have a kids club. And a doctor on site. It seems difficult, but with Trivago, it's not. Just select the filters you need, and Trivago will compare prices from hundreds of websites worldwide. Easy. Find the ideal hotel for you. Hotel Trivago.
Saturday, former Secretary of State John Kerry goes one-on-one with David Axelrod, talking President Trump, foreign policy, military strategy, and the former presidential candidate weighs in on the Democratic Party's potential 2020 field. The Axe Files, Saturday at 7.
Do you have $10,000 or more in debt? Struggling to keep up with credit card payments? There is a way out. Freedom Debt Relief. Their affordable program could help you save money and be debt-free in 24 to 48 months.
Since I started with Freedom Debt Relief, I'm saving money each month and I'm getting my debt paid down.
You could eliminate your debt with just one low monthly program payment that fits your budget.
Find out how quickly you could be debt-free. Call now, 1-800-319-9951.
Freedom Debt Relief has resolved over $10 billion in debt for hundreds of thousands of Americans. So before your debt gets any worse, give them a call.
Freedom saved me a lot of money. I am so grateful.
Their certified debt consultants are standing by, ready to help.
Call 1-800-319-9951 to start eliminating your debt now. That's 1-800-319-9951.
President Trump's former attorney Michael Cohen is admitting to paying thousands of dollars to rig polls at the direction of his former boss. The Wall Street Journal reports that before Trump ran for president, Cohen agreed to pay an IT specialist to rig online polls, including a poll of presidential contenders on the Drudge Report and a CNBC poll of top business leaders. So let's discuss now with Michael Rothfeld, who broke the story for the Wall Street Journal. We're so happy to hear Michael D'Antoni is here as well. You know he's the author of The Truth About Trump. I'm happy to have both of you here, but I am ecstatic to have you here because this story has been fascinating me all day. During the campaign, you heard, Trump. He wasn't President Trump, candidate Trump, complaining all the time, the polls are rigged, the polls are rigged. Now we find out that Cohen is actually trying to rig the polls in his favor. Yes, they are rigged.
That's right. In 2014, as you mentioned, the CNBC poll, Michael Cohen had a relationship with this IT guy, John Gauger, who also works at Liberty University, run by Jerry Falwell Jr. And for several years, they were working together. And then In 2014, he says, I want you to make the boss the greatest businessman in the century, and tries to write a computer script to manipulate this poll, vote many, many times, and that fails. And then a year later, Cohen tries it again with the Drudge poll when the presidential race is coming up and says, you know, please make Donald Trump win, and he comes in 5th. So it does fail, but they definitely tried to do it.
Yeah. And so I talked about this earlier with Chris. I've been told on good authority the reason he did it is because they wanted him to show up in the polls just enough for us suckers in the media to talk about him, to get his name out there.
Right. So Donald Trump believes that either you're a sucker or you're taking advantage of the suckers. So we were the suckers. They took advantage of us. But there's also, I think, something consistent with Donald Trump's entire life going on here. This is a man who thinks that he cannot win a straight-up competition. He has to somehow rig whatever game he's playing. And you've said this also, that whatever he accuses others of doing is the thing that he's doing himself. Right. So who imagines that the polls are rigged? The guy who's rigging the polls.
This is what Michael Cohen tweeted. He said, what I did was at the direction of and for the sole benefit of Donald Trump, the POTUS. I truly regret my blind loyalty to a man who doesn't deserve it. Rudy Giuliani was on last night, and he says the president didn't know about it. But once again, you have Michael Cohen, who is implicating this president in some very shady dealings.
That's right. And I mean, we reported with respect to the hush money deals, Michael Cohen did, that Donald Trump was involved at every level of that. So here he is on the side of the campaign, operating kind of in the dark on his own. And, you know, now Trump people would like us to think he's rogue. But, you know, we know that Trump definitely was orchestrating the hush money deals. And in this case, Michael Cohen says that Donald Trump directed him to do that. And at the time, Trump was tweeting about those polls, and he was very angry, in fact, when he didn't win the CNBC poll and was complaining about it. So, I mean, that kind of indicates that he was quite aware of what was going on.
Every interview I went to, he brought polls. He would bring and hand them to me.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that he looked for them every morning when he went into the office. Now, he's not a fellow who Googles himself. He has people Google for him, and they bring in these polls, and they circle his standing, and it's either a good day or a bad day, depending on how it works
Think about what you just said. Google me.
Right, he Googled.
Tell me what they're saying.
Right, it's going to be Googled. And I also think that what's fascinating about this is that this is a president who's employed people all throughout his life to pump him up. And poor Michael Cohen was trained to do it for himself. He winds up creating this fake Twitter account of women who love Cohen.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of pathetic. And you know, Donald Trump's pathetic in the way that he's promoted himself as a sex symbol. And poor Michael, you know, he's out doing it himself too.
You fault a guy for trying. I guess you can.
Well, you know, he didn't know better, but you know, he's landed on his feet, and he's now going to, I think, be the hero of this story.
This is what I have to say. How do you pronounce it? Gauger, right?
Gauger,
is that what you said? Cohen ended up stiffing Gauger, who says he was promised $50,000 in fees, but instead got somewhere between $12,000 to $13,000 in cash in a blue Walmart bag, right?
That's right.
Cohen denies paying the cash payment. Is this how it works in Trump world? I mean, you may know Trump world. That you get paid in a plastic bag or a paper bag full of cash? What does that sound like?
I forgot your bag of cash tonight. I'm sorry about that, but I'll catch you tomorrow. I mean, no, this is ridiculous.
That's it. Thank you, Michael D'Antonio.
This is ridiculous.
But Don, you forgot to mention he also gave him a boxing glove that belonged to a mixed martial arts fighter from Brazil. So that presumably was maybe some compensation for not getting the full amount that he was.
Do we know if that was supposed to make up for?
I don't think so, because afterwards Gauger kept pursuing him for the rest of the money, and Cohen was telling him, you know, I'll get it to you. You're the only person I owe money to in the entire town. I mean, I doubt that's the case, but so he did expect to get paid.
But Michael Rothfeld, Michael Cohen requested $50,000 reimbursements from Trump with a handwritten note for tech services, and that fees to Gauger in early 2017.
Right. When he was getting the Stormy Daniels $130,000, he gave a bank statement to the Trump organization people, and so on it he wrote tech services, and he did get the $50,000 for that and the $130,000 for Stormy. And so that's why Rudy Giuliani is saying, hey, you know, the guy's a thief. He collected $50,000 from us, but he only paid the other guy $13,000 in cash, and so, you know, you can't trust him.
You mentioned this, but women who love and support Michael Cohen, strong, pit bull, sex symbol, no nonsense, business oriented, and ready to make a difference.
Well, come on, who was he imitating?
Yeah.
This is the President of the United States, who back then was all about creating this image of himself as sexy, if you can believe that.
As your mom would say, birds of a feather, or if you lie down with dogs, you get fleas.
You're the guy with 2 dogs.
What are you saying? I have fleas? Thank you, Michael. Thank you both. We appreciate you coming on. And anytime you break a story, you're welcome back. Or even if you don't break a story, but come back anytime. Thank you. More than a dozen military officials, enlisted personnel, and senior civilians are telling CNN that they are concerned. How's the president politicizing of the military is worrying people inside the Pentagon like never before. We'll talk about that coming up.
If you're going to craft a crossover for the city, you want to stay connected to the world around. You consider corners, not just curves. You let architecture inspire design. The first of its kind Lexus UX and UX F Sport with the latest safety system standard, best-in-class turn radius, and best-in-class MPG. Crafted to conquer a new kind of frontier. Also available in hybrid all-wheel drive. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Hey man, could I get a pound of the flank, a pound of the ground sirloin, and a ribeye?
Hey, I thought you were vegan.
Yeah, I'm paleo now. I'm flexible. And give me just some of that, surprise me.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, just scan the sensor with your reader or iPhone and manage your diabetes. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. Ask your doctor to write a prescription for the new Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without fingersticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
We really love the holidays at Graham Grahams, but it's tough to...
Relax.
The Dish guy heard us. Said with the Dish Anywhere app, we could bring the comfort of our home TV along with us. Live TV, on demand, even our DVR shows.
Feel good shows.
That put us right at ease. Mostly.
So many eyes.
Take live TV, on demand, and your home DVR anywhere. Dish, tuned into you.
With our laser-measured floor liners, no-drill mud flaps, cargo liner, a bump step, and even seat protectors, WeatherTech has everything you need to keep winter out of your vehicle. Order today at WeatherTech.com. Made right in America.
I thought I was managing my moderate to severe ulcerative colitis, but I realized something was missing. Me. The thought of my symptoms returning was keeping me from being there for the people and things I love most. So I talked to my doctor and learned Humira can help get and keep UC under control when other medications haven't worked well enough. And it helps people achieve control that lasts, so you could experience few or no symptoms.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, control is possible.
The best part about being a bath fitter installer is the reveal. Homeowners greet us in the morning and love that we're going to install a beautiful new tub right over their old one without tearing the bathroom apart. But they're never quite prepared for what they get come the end of the day. We call it the wow moment. When they see their new bathtub that's high quality and more beautiful than they could have imagined, I can't help but smile. Since it's Bathfitter, it's built to last a lifetime. We guarantee it.
Book your free in-home consultation today. Call or visit bathfitter.com.
You've had quite the career.
Yeah, I've had some pretty prestigious jobs over the years. News producer, executive transport manager, and a beverage distribution supervisor. Now I'm a director at a security software firm.
Wow, you've been at it a long time.
The thing is, I like working. What if my retirement plan is I don't want to retire?
Then let's not create a retirement plan. Let's create a plan for what's next.
I like that.
Get a plan that's right for you. TD Ameritrade.
President Trump today denying Speaker Nancy Pelosi the use of a military plane for a trip to Afghanistan to visit troops with a congressional delegation. Is this just the latest example of this president politicizing the military? Let's discuss this now. Retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling is here, and retired Colonel Cedric Leighton. Gentlemen, good evening. You're the perfect folks to have on to talk about this, so I appreciate you coming on. Colonel Leighton, let's start with you. You once served as a congressional liaison. If the commander-in-chief decides to play politics with the military, they really don't have any choice but to go along with it, do they?
Well, that's right, yeah, unless you want to resign out on grounds of protest or want to say that, maybe there's a better way to do it and convince your bosses to then convince the president that it's, that's not the way to go. They generally have to follow exactly what the president says, and they really do not have a choice in the matter at all.
General Hertling, Barbara Starr has new reporting about the mood in the Pentagon. Here's some of it. I'm going to read it. It says, some of the highest-ranking officers say there is a new atmosphere of unease inside the Pentagon, particularly among some of the most senior ranks over the president's inclination to use the military to achieve certain partisan policy objectives. The amount of time we have to spend making sure our statements and what we say is apolitical is astronomically higher than ever before, one senior military officer told CNN. What kinds of political pressures do you think does military brass normally operate under?
Well, you think about it, Don, and it's like dealing with a tough boss that's trying to always make you laugh or do the things he wants you to do and persuade you, but it takes it a step further. Because in the private sector, you're loyal to your boss, you're loyal to the company. In the military, you're loyal to the Constitution. We take that oath the first day any new military member joins the service. They take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, and that's it. And you don't care what political party is in charge. So you have to be very careful about how you relate to politics. And, you can cheer for a president. You can certainly applaud a president as part of your chain of command. You would do the same thing for a commander. What you can't do is go in that fine line of being part of his or her inner circle, because you defend the nation as a whole, not a political party, not something that the president's trying to do, and especially in this case.
Colonel Leighton, in his letter to Speaker Pelosi calling off her trip, the president called it a public relations event and an excursion. The president himself was in Iraq just days after the shutdown started. Does that mean he was on a PR excursion?
Well, you could certainly make the case that he was, and certainly with the MAGA hats showing up and things like that being part of the press coverage of that event, you could certainly say that. But I think when you look at going into a war zone and you have a congressional delegation that is planning to go into a war zone, that is definitely not your average junket, average excursion out there.
The president spoke.
John,
go on, General.
If I could add to that too, with a commander-in-chief, you are the commander. You have the responsibility to visit your forces. What you're talking about with a Pelosi visit or a Speaker of the House visit, you're talking about her responsibility for oversight and appropriations and armed services and the kinds of things that are relegated to Congress in the Constitution. So certainly as the president has a requirement to visit soldiers, or troops rather, across the spectrum, the Speaker of the House also has to understand how she's voting for money and how she's voting to support the president in terms of manning and equipping the services.
General Hertling, the president spoke at the Pentagon earlier today after acknowledging the death of 4 American servicemen in Syria yesterday. He said this.
While many Democrats in the House and Senate would like to make a deal, Speaker Pelosi will not let them negotiate. The party has been hijacked by the open borders fringe within the party, the radical left becoming the radical Democrats.
General Hertling, according to our team covering it, the room, and this is a quote, remained silent with no applause. What's your reaction?
Yeah, exactly what they were supposed to do, Don. And that today was a perfect example of using the military to politicize an audience. You can't go in front of a group of military personnel that represent the spectrum of societies. There are some Democrats in that room, and the president seems to keep forgetting that he now is no longer campaigning, he's representing all Americans. So by dividing the room and saying the Democrats are terrible, Pelosi's bad, they got to give me my wall, that is politicization with a military audience, and that's what's wrong. And God bless all of them in that room for standing as still as they could. That's what right looks like. That's what they're supposed to do.
Does anything embarrass this president, Colonel Layton?
I'm not sure, Don. You know, this is something, you know, where General Hertling's spot on in this case, because you're looking at the real proper decorum. There are traditions, and I think the real problem that we have is that we're not following certain time-tested traditions, time-tested ways of doing business, and that is a real problem because they're there for a reason. We have a military that is apolitical for a reason. We want to make sure that it defends all of us, not just a certain few of us.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on, and more importantly, thank you for your service. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Don. Thank you.
Yep. We've got breaking news to tell you about. Stay with us. A new report that says Donald Trump directed Michael Cohen to lie to Congress about the Trump Tower in Moscow. Details next.
What makes this simple salad the best simple salad ever? Great tasting, heart-healthy California walnuts. So simple, so good. Get the recipes at walnuts.org.
We deliver by delivering.
One day I'm chewing a piece of hard candy and my two front teeth snapped off. My teeth were so messed up. I work in a casino. When I would laugh or engage with the players, I did it like this a lot. It's because I was embarrassed of my teeth. I don't think dentures were ever a solution. The only option for me was Clear Choice.
David was due for a complete reconstruction. Because we have the surgeon and the prosthodontist and the lab in one facility working together as a team, we can perform this procedure in one day.
The Clear Choice one-day approach is making dental implants a reality for people all over the country who suffer from missing or failing teeth.
The whole procedure was done in the same day. Had a beautiful smile.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
If I don't get at least 5 or 6 compliments a day at work, it wouldn't be normal. You go, wow, those teeth, they're gorgeous. It's all because of Clear Choice.
Call Clear Choice today.
We like to let folks know we're DTS.
Down to slang.
Hey, Cynthia! You and Bruce want to sling tonight? We just...
Sounds good. Bruce, bring your mom.
See you there. We're gonna go all night. Yay! We're slingers, and proud of it.
Deal with it, nerds.
Sling TV is the live TV you love with no long-term contracts. Stop paying too much for TV. Watch 7 days free at slingtv.com.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to jumpstart sales. Build attendance for an event.
Help people find their way. Fast Signs designed new directional signage.
And got them back on track. Get started at fastsigns.com.
We are rebellious, trendsetters, one of a kind. We are what we wear. American Style, Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Over and over again, an illegal immigrant crosses the border and someone gets hurt. This time, an officer of the law. President Trump is fighting to build a wall to keep us safe and put America first. But Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are standing in the way, playing politics instead of protecting America. Enough is enough. Please pick up the phone and call 800-350-6647 and press 1 now to support President Trump in his fight to secure our border with the building of the wall. We need to send a message to Schumer and Pelosi that we mean business. We need to deliver the voices of millions of Americans that we support President Trump. And it starts with your phone call to